Good afternoon and welcome to Take Your Life Back Today show with Ralf Friedrichs. Today we're going to talk about the 7 dangerous drug mistakes. This is really more when it comes to the elderly, when it comes to the people that just go shopping from pharmacy to pharmacy, when they start mixing drugs and they don't realize the interaction that these drugs cause. As always, I want to give a shout out to Dr. Luis Gonzalez from StartingPointMN.com. You can reach me at 844-414-8444. Dr. Luis Gonzalez will take you from your addiction to your recovery step by step, one day at a time. He will never ever rush into anything or talk about your past. He'll worry about today and tomorrow. He will also, if you want to, make you an addiction recovery coach. If you want to attend his educational program at StartingPointMN.com, all you need to do is call him at 844-414-8444, and he will ask you, do you have professionalism? Do you have a personality? Do you have passion? And have you battled an addiction, whether it was your own addiction or maybe helping another one? He will help you become an addiction recovery coach if you call him at 844-414-8444. Tell him Ralf Friedrichs sent you from the Take Your Life Back Today show, and become an addiction recovery coach. Call him to hire him as your addiction recovery coach if you need to battle from your addiction to recovery. Also want to give a shout out to globaleyeglasses.com, where they are focused on saving you money. They have frames as low as $6 that go up to $49, $59, and $69. Those frames include a cloth, a case. They also include single vision, standard, clear, plastic, non-coated lenses with a regular prescription. Now, if you need progressives, they have them. If you need line bifocals, they have them. If you need transitions or photochromatics, they have both of those. They have anything that you would find in a brick and mortar establishment in your local town, only at a fraction of cost. You need to reach out to www.globaleyeglasses.com, and they are focused on saving you money, which they will do. And here's the great thing here. As your host for this show, I'm also in the optometry field for over 30 years, and I'll be more than happy to help place your order like I've done for 100 people already that have texted me or called me at 631-599-0218 or called me at 844-405-HELP, and I have helped place your order to make sure that you are getting exactly what you need, and it makes it a little easier when you have that personal touch. So reach out to me at 631-599-0218, and I will help place your order with globaleyeglasses.com, where they are focused on saving you money. Folks, go to my website, www.takeyourlifebacktodayShow, or www.clearviews.info, or www.clearreform.com. To Take Your Life Back Today show website has our episodes. It has plenty of information on different drugs, drug addiction information. It also has my biography on there. On my clearviews.info, it has tons and tons of information about addictions and recovery, plus many videos. Plus on page 7 you can find rehab centers for almost every state. And my www.clearreform.com is a website like Dr. Luis Gonzalez's StartingPointMN.com website. It's for me to become your addiction recovery coach. The United States is big enough for all of us who are in the field to have plenty of business, because that's how bad the drug and alcohol epidemic is in this country and globally. Reach out to me, 844-405-HELP, and I will help you. 7 dangerous drug mistakes. Mistake number 1 is mixing drugs that interact adversely. Antidepressants and meth together can be a real problem for you. Painkillers and supplements can be a problem because you don't know when what is in a supplement, since the FDA does not require it to be listed. When the FDA is involved in anything, it certainly makes it a safety precaution. But with those supplements, they are not required by the FDA to list their ingredients. So when you start mixing painkillers and those supplements together, it becomes a problem. Antidepressants and meth together will definitely give you a real problem. So it's really important that we're careful on how we mix those drugs up, if you have to mix them at all, or even take drugs. Number 2 is mixing drugs and alcohol. Prescription pain meds and anti-anxiety meds such as Valium and Xanax can have an addictive effect when mixed with alcohol. You won't be alert. Your driving response will be way off. So, excuse me 1 second here. Let me just do this. Okay. So, we need to be really careful with that. On all the prescriptions, what they say pretty much is to take a glass of water. They never mention anything like take a shot of vodka or take alcohol like whiskey or even a beer to take your medication. So mixing drugs and alcohol, prescription pain meds, and anti-anxiety meds such as Valium and Xanax can have an addictive effect when mixed with alcohol. You won't be alert, and your driving response time will be way off. Number 3 is leaving the doctor's office without enough info. Ask all the questions that you need to ask when you're in the doctor's office. Doc, why am I getting this medication? What are these meds for? And have your doctor explain all this to you. When you leave the doctor's office, you need to know the name of the medication you're taking and what they are for. Next one is, let's see, we do this. Number 4 is wrong RX from the pharmacy. Not always your fault, but there is plenty you can do to reduce the risk. First, how did it happen? Did the pharmacist maybe not be able to read the doctor's handwriting? If you feel that the doctor's handwriting is not sufficient, go back to your doctor and have him rewrite the prescription, because it is really important that the pharmacist is able to read a clear prescription, and just as important, you don't want the wrong RX to come from the pharmacist. Number 5, using multiple pharmacies. Many people do that. Not a good idea to do. If you're going to start going from pharmacist to pharmacist, things will happen that are not going to be too good for you. So if you go to different pharmacies, they can't screen for drug interaction because they won't have a complete list of all the meds that you're on. Unless you're carrying a list, like I know a person that does that, carries a list about this long of every single medication. Your pharmacist is kind of shooting in the dark of what you have gotten from other pharmacies. So that's an important factor. And number 6 is not taking meds as directed. That becomes a huge problem. Compliance is a major problem, especially with the elderly people. As many as 1/3 of older people don't take meds as directed, and usually it's because of a cost factor, because insurance companies just don't cover it. So when you're not taking the meds as directed, that becomes a huge problem. And number 7 is not asking enough questions. Each year, about 400,000 preventable drug-related injuries happen in the U.S. hospitals, according to the Institute of Medicine alone. 400,000. Speak up, or ask a family member to speak up to your pharmacist, speak up to your doctor. If you are not able to ask those questions, take someone with you and have somebody double check the prescription before you bring it to the pharmacy. 7 dangerous drug mistakes. Mixing drugs that interact adversely. Number 1, antidepressants and depressants and meth together can be a real problem for you. You cannot mix those two together, and if you do, you are asking for loads and loads of problems. Just like you cannot mix painkillers and supplements. That can be a huge problem as well, because you don't know what is in the supplements, since the FDA does not require for the supplement companies to put it in there. So it can have unbelievable effects on you. Number 2, mixing drugs and alcohol. When you read a prescription bottle, it always says take a glass of water with these pills. It never says take whiskey. It never says take a beer. Matter of fact, sometimes you see that martini glass with a circle and a cross going across it, meaning not to mix it with alcohol. So mixing drugs and alcohol, like pain medication and anti-anxiety meds such as Valium and Xanax, can have an addictive effect that will be not good for you, and you won't be alert, and it will have your driving time way off. So you cannot do that. Leaving the doctor's office without enough info. Do yourselves a favor, and if you're not able to do so, take somebody with you, but ask the doctor questions. What medications am I on, and why are you putting me on there? Remember, you are the person that hired this doctor, the doctor works for you. The doctor is required by law to let you know what your situation is, and you need to ask those questions if you're not getting enough answers. When you leave the doctor's office, you need to know the name of the medication and why are you taking it. Number 4 is wrong RX from pharmacy. A lot of times you get the wrong RX is because the doctor's prescription was written in such a way that it was a little confusing. So the pharmacist might make a mistake on it. So your fault, but it's not always your fault. That's what I should have said. It's not always your fault. But there is plenty for you to do. To reduce the risk, what you need to do is find out how did the pharmacist make the mistake so you can rectify it. And the second thing is the pharmacist may not be able to read it, so ask your doctor to rewrite the prescription. If your pharmacist should ask you, don't just say, well, do the best you can from what you have. Find out why you can't see, why the pharmacist can't get a clear vision of this. And also ask the doctor to rewrite it. Number 5, using multiple pharmacies. Don't go pharmacy shopping. When you're going from one to the next, not one knows what the other one is doing. Unless you're carrying a list, which maybe you should if that's what you're going to do, the pharmacist is just going to keep filling prescriptions, and then you're going to start mixing all these dangerous drugs together, and God knows you might be one of the statistics that I'm going to talk about next. Not taking medication as directed. Compliance is a major problem, especially in the elderly. As many as a third of older people are not in compliance as taking medication as directed. Usually it's because of financial issues. They try to extend 30 days into 45 days, but they're not getting the full effect of getting the help that they need. So it's really important, folks, that you take the medications as directed. If it says 1 pill a day, you have to take. You can't take one every other day. Last but not least is not asking enough questions. Each year, about 400,000 preventable drug-related injuries happen in U.S. hospitals, according to the Institute of Medicine. You need to speak up, and if you can't speak up, you need to get a family member or a friend to go with you to the doctor, go with you to the pharmacist, but you need to come together and figure out how to prevent these dangerous drug mistakes. You cannot mix drugs together. You cannot do that. You cannot mix 2 different drugs. You cannot mix drugs and alcohol. You gotta ask the questions before you leave the doctor's office. When you get the wrong RX from the pharmacist, figure out why did it happen. Was it because the writing on the prescription, or was it maybe the pharmacist just made a mistake? But find out what happened so you can prevent it from happening again, and stop using multiple pharmacies. Stop hopping from pharmacist to pharmacist. If you want to use one, that's great, but you cannot use CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid for prescriptions, because one does not know from the other what you are getting. And 6 is not taking meds as directed. If it says take a pill a day, do that. Do not take one every other day. And I understand if you're an elder and you have financial restrictions, but if you're taking one every other day, you are not helping yourself. You might be helping your pocketbook, but you're not helping yourself. Not asking enough questions is the most crucial mistake, because you need to know why are you taking medications, and for are you taking those medications. Ask the questions. Get a family member if you need to help you with these questions. So remember the 7 dangerous drug mistakes. Please avoid them at all costs. Please listen. Do not mix your drugs and alcohol. Do not mix your medications. Don't go pharmacy shopping. Make sure that the prescription that you get from the doctor is readable. Make sure that you double check the pharmacist after he gives you the prescription so you're getting the correct prescription. Take your medications as directed, and ask those questions. Have a family member ask with you if you need to. Folks, it is that simple. The epidemic on drugs and alcohol in this country is so bad, not only for the illegal drugs, but it's become bad for legal drugs, because even in our home, we keep in our medicine cabinet drugs that are bad for children. They might be painkillers for you, but for a child, they become an instant high. So if you have any addictive drugs and you have addictive personalities living under your roof, lock those drugs away. Drugs have become bad also because people are abusing prescription drugs. They'll go to doctors, pretend like they have a situation at hand, and to get those pills. They might pretend that they're in pain to get the painkillers. Meanwhile, they're not in pain, they just want the painkillers to get that high. It is the illegal drugs, and the legal drugs are just as bad. Remember, 400,000 preventable drug-related injuries happen in U.S. hospitals alone. 400,000. And remember that 1/3 of elderly are taking prescription drugs not as directed, as convenient for them, whether it's for financial reasons or not. Work on making sure that what you get from the doctor is readable. When you go to the pharmacy, you get the correct one. When you read the bottle, you use as directed. You don't mix the drugs and alcohol. You don't mix alcohol and medications. And just keep praying and praying that this drug epidemic in the United States and globally becomes better, because it has become so terribly bad. Folks, if today is the day where maybe you got something out of this segment, I am a happy person, because so many people are out there that are mixing drugs and alcohol. So many people are mixing different type of drugs. So many people are pharmacy shopping. So many people are driving and they're not even alert because they're mixing those drugs. And so many people are not taking their medication as directed. Start doing that today. And if you can't read your medicine bottle because the writing is too small, this is where globaleyeglasses.com comes in hand. Go to their website, get in touch with me, I'll help you order glasses with more magnification so we can get you to see better. Folks, today is another day that we have learned something. Maybe not the best knowledge, but it's something. We have learned that 7 dangerous drugs, 7 dangerous drug mistakes are out there, and we have learned what to look out for. Please start today with a brand new day. Start today doing the right thing. Doing the right thing is to stop drinking alcohol. Stop doing drugs. Start doing the right thing by eliminating those 2 factors and becoming a better person in life. There is nothing wrong with drinking some alcohol if you're having 1 or 2 maximum. But when you start abusing, like I was, and you're doing 10 to 15 shots of vodka a day, that is a problem. When you're starting to do joints, meth, coke, crack every single day or at all, that is a problem. It is now where you need to pull up your bootlaces and move forward and say, I want to live longer. Don't become a statistic. Every single day there are people dying in this world because of drug overdose, because of alcohol overdose. Don't become part of that. Start changing today. What better way to change than to have something called hope? And you can get that hope from God. Let God guide and direct you through your day, your week, your month, your year, the rest of your life. Because without God, your life will continue being the way it is right now. Some of you might be watching and saying, my life is great. That is good. But there are plenty, thousands, millions of people that have issues like drug addiction, alcohol addictions. And I am addressing them directly. Start with changes today. Remember, big changes only happen with small steps. They all start with very small steps. Just go slow, step by step, day by day, and things will become better. I promise you. But you need to make that move. You need to finally say, I've had it with drugs and alcohol, and make the move to become better. Let today be the first day of your new life. Let today be the first day of changes in your life. I hope to God that each and every one of you folks out there has the best day possible. I hope that you think positive so you can get positive results and positive days. I hope you are sober so you can have a better tomorrow. And I hope that you teach your children to say no to drugs and alcohol. And I hope that if you're looking for change, that you realize all change starts with small steps. Folks, please have a great day. But more importantly, folks, I pray you have a sober day, and may God bless.
all you can do to keep from crying as the love begins to flow. And every second